We're back here in the Daytime Kitchen on Food City Friday with registered dietitian Kirby Moir. And Kirby, National Diabetes Month, raising awareness about diabetes. I think it touches just about every family in America right now. It really does.
It is becoming something that I think, unfortunately, we're getting almost too comfortable with.
Right.
And there is a lot of misinformation and confusion about how to eat with diabetes.
Right.
And
I think a lot of people think if I just cut out the sweets and yeah, there's more to it than that.
Yes, and unfortunately, from time's sake today, I'm not going to bore everyone on educating what are carbohydrates, right? But what we do want to understand is foods that contain carbohydrates affect our blood sugar.
Yes.
And so we oftentimes, I used to see people out in the hospital or other places, and they would come to me and say, I just don't eat fruit because I have diabetes, right? And that would be disheartening for me.
But you're missing out on nutrition as well.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of it does come down to portion control, and then especially when we're choosing packaged foods, just a little bit of awareness of I want to watch out for items that don't have additional added sugar.
Right.
Right now, if we're walking around in our sweets, we're going to know that they're going to have some added sugar, but some sneaky places that they might be getting in are places like sauces, fruit juices, canned and dried fruits. So this is a great place to again use those pick well tags and look for our no sugar added.
And you mentioned the juice. Should we always be looking for 100% juice?
100% juice, yep. And then when you're looking for canned items, especially if you're just going to be eating, I know baked items sometimes we look for different choices, but if you're eating this, you want to look for them in 100% juice, or it's going to say on the front, no sugar added.
Nice.
Very, very important. And of course, label reading, what that Pick Well program does, we've actually already analyzed the label, right? So that's where we're understanding, we're making sure it's not in the ingredient list, and then we're making sure it's not designated there. These are some great brands too that just, if you want to introduce fruit, what I like is they give you the serving size.
Yes.
So if you're not sure about what a serving of fruit looks like, canned, frozen, these literally lay it out for you.
They take it all the mystery out of it.
So that can help you out if you are doing a carbohydrate count diet, which we oftentimes recommend for our diabetics, of course.
Then you go into stuff like dairy. I think a lot of people, situations like yogurt, it really gets confusing with a lot of folks.
It does, yes. And dairy contains natural sugars or natural carbohydrates. Lactose, we've all heard that, right? That's a natural healthy sugar, so it is going to give us some carbohydrates. As we move over into this section, these are actually designated low carb items or carbware items that you'll see at the Food City store. Again, that's important for a doctor or a dietitian to help you navigate how many carbs you should be eating. But if you're somebody that wants to find some lower carb choices to help, yogurt, especially Greek yogurt, is a great choice. These are all lower carbohydrate choices that are flavored.
Yes.
Yes. Now that's
they're not plain. They do have flavor to them.
You know my love of talking about plain Greek yogurt, but I understand people want a little bit more from life. So we have our 000, our Too Good, and then our Chobani Zero Sugar. These are all going to have that flavor we're looking for, more protein and less of that carbohydrate. And then another thing is, of course, non-starchy vegetables. These are naturally low in carbohydrates, and we recommend diabetics make half of their lunch and dinner plate come from vegetables. All right. Now that's pushing it sometimes.
It's pushing it a little bit, but you can do it. You can do it.
And these are great. You don't have to do full replacements, but these can be a filler. So if you're eating pasta, you could add in some veggie zucchini. You could also mix half your rice with a rice cauliflower. So don't imagine that you have to go all the way cutting out these foods. Typically means it's going to be less sustainable. These are some good ways to kind of break that down or kind of dilute the portion a little bit. And then last thing over there, convenient choices we find in our breakfast section. This is another place that you can look for that carbware tag to find some balanced choices with more protein, more nutrients. So that Pick Well program really is like having a dietitian shop with you. And I think the more people get comfortable, they're like, I can find foods I like that fit within my diet, and I know I'm going to feel comfortable eating for a long time.
And I think breakfast may be one of the hardest meals to really watch it because there's so many choices out there that are just loaded with sugar and loaded with carbohydrates.
Yes, and it's hard when that's something you've eaten for a long period of time. Again, and these are some of our habits. It's nice to have a convenient, easy choice to swap that out in the morning.
Great advice from Kirby Moir. Great job, Kirby.
Thank you, sir.
That's a lot of great advice there. Folks, if you want to find out more about everything that we talked about today as far as National Diabetes Month, as far as these food choices, make sure you go to foodcity.com.